Hello, talking about how to hold the guitar. Most of us sit like this with our guitar resting on the right leg. That's not wrong, but it's not ideal. Sometimes if a guitar is a little too big, if the guitar is on your right leg, a bigger guitar can tend to hike up your shoulder. Or if you're a young student that has a guitar that's a little bit big for you, because the body is usually what's a little bit too big. You want to look and make sure the shoulder isn't hiked up too much, make sure it's not too hard to reach over, that sort of thing. Again, most of us sit this way and that works if you're big enough to accommodate for that. But if you look carefully at my fingers, if I just relax them and go to play, you can see that my fingers are at an angle. Those metal things, of course, are the frets, and my fingers are kind of at an awkward angle to those frets. What you really want is something more like this. And if you want to back up, and I'll show you how to sit, the proper, best way to sit, I fully admit, is the classical position. You scoot forward in your chair. Believe it or not, we're going to put the guitar on that left leg, and at first it might feel awkward, like, well, my guitar's so far away, how do I play there? The last part of that is you bring the neck up and kind of tuck it in like this. And now if you look at my fingers, just relaxing, my fingers are at a parallel angle to the frets, and so that's the ideal way. Before, when I was like this, I was kind of losing a whole section of my finger, but now when I sit properly, it's the best situation for your left hand. And if you look too at my body now, because the guitar is on the left leg, I totally got rid of that shoulder hike thing. So this is ideal. Most of us don't sit this way, at least not most of the time, unless you're an official classical guitar player. I admit I'm lazy, I go back and forth between both of them. One thing I can say that's kind of a challenge is if you look at my foot when I'm sitting this way, it's pretty important that your leg is parallel to the floor, or maybe even at a slight upward angle. What you don't want is you don't want your leg going down toward the floor. And that could be either because your chair is too high or the floor is too low, however you want to think of it. Because if it's on a downward angle, then your guitar is going to want to go wee, it's kind of slide down, right? And again, there's two ways you can do that. If you have a chair that goes lower, wee, then you can lower your seat to make your leg closer to parallel. Now my feet can be flat on the floor as opposed to on tiptoes. And my guitar has a real solid, stable place to be. If that's not as convenient, like sometimes a bed or a couch might be low enough that their legs will be parallel to the floor just sitting on that couch. Or you can grab something, anything you have around the house, such as a bucket or a container, to elevate your left leg. So that's the other way to do it. And again, you want your leg parallel to the floor or even at a slight upward angle. They say it's not great for your back to sit this way with one leg up and one leg down for hours. So it'd probably be preferable to have both feet on the floor and do something to make your chair lower. Again, whether it's a chair that adjusts like this one or a chair that's just the right height that way. The last thought I have is using a strap. Most guitars come with a strap button on this end that you can just easily put a strap on. There's really nothing to it. Mine's nice and used, so it goes on pretty easily. Most guitars, for some reason, do not come with a strap button on this side. I really wish they would, they should. I have a strap lock on mine, so I'm not going to take it off at the moment. But that's probably the most common place to put the second strap. Most straps will come with like some sort of a shoelace or piece of string. You can also tie a strap around the headstock. I don't really prefer that. The guitar doesn't usually sit well for me that way. I strongly recommend spending the $5, have a music store install a strap there. The reason why a strap is so cool is because sitting, sometimes I feel conflicted. You can see my guitar is a little bit far that way, maybe a little bit far this way. Right in the middle, if I stand up, is going to be this. That's literally in the middle between here and here. And that's ideal. If you're going to be an American Idol, you got to get used to playing with a strap anyway, right? So a strap, even when you're sitting, sometimes I'll have my strap really high, like not as high as I would have it playing, because now my guitar is actually not even touching my legs. My guitar is being suspended by the strap, and that's another great way to go, because then whether you're standing or sitting, even if you lower your strap a little bit when you're standing, now you're used to it being kind of in the middle, and you don't get too used to looking at your left hand. That's something a lot of beginners will want to do too, is you'll probably catch beginners having a guitar on the back. It's logical because then you can see what your fingers are doing, right? I strongly suggest them, don't bring the guitar to you. Try to have your head go to your fingers. Use your head to look at the fingers. Don't compromise your whole position, because this is really difficult to play. And then, if they have a guitar on their back, guess which finger they like to use? The finger you're not allowed to use, the thumb, which isn't usually used. It's not always wrong, but we don't want them to start with that. So there's a few thoughts on how to hold your guitar.